Looking at Crumbl Cookies today, how much does a franchise cost? How much do they make? And some dark secrets about Crumbl hidden from the general public today on Franchise City. Social media darlings Crumbl Cookies have millions of followers on social media today. They are brilliant at marketing and people love their cookies. But what about buying a Crumbl franchise? Well, Crumbl is also really good at selling franchises. And the funny thing is, when people see a lot of people who are investing in something, and it can be anything, they assume this thing is good. Same goes with any investment, and that's why most people lose at investing. They just follow along and tend not to think. Now, we've seen this hype phenomenon with many companies. We've covered them on the channel here with brands that eventually imploded, like BurgerIm and F45 training. I'll place those links above and at the end of the video. Now, outlets like the Franchise 500 ranking list even gives awards for the fastest growing franchises. But is it really good if a franchise has fast growth for you as a franchise buyer? Let's start with some context. Franchise giants in the industry like McDonalds and Chick-fil-A typically add under 100 new locations per year. Now, these organizations have decades of franchising experience. They have huge support staff to roll out new locations and make sure everything is working. Now, Crumbl, a relatively new franchise, in the last 2 years alone sold 863 franchises. From a revenue perspective, that's $43 million plus in franchise fees alone. Now, if any of you have opened a franchise, you know how much work and effort is required. Finding and negotiating your real estate, hiring contractors for the build-outs, obtaining licensing and insurance, hiring staff, marketing, all of these things. Then on top of that, once that's taken care of, all of these hundreds of brand new franchisees are going to require ongoing training and support. Now, the question is, and this is a genuine question, is Crumbl going to be able to sustain the level of growth and support it that even the biggest franchise companies are avoiding? Now, let's take a look at the agreement you would be signing if you bought a Crumbl franchise. Now, first off, Crumbl isn't going to help you find a location. Now, many franchises actually do help their franchisees choose their real estate and their location. But what happens if you can't find a suitable store, or if Crumbl doesn't like the stores that you proposed? Now, according to the agreement, Crumbl can legally keep your $50,000 franchise fee and terminate your agreement if you can't find a location. Also, if you do find a location but have problems with construction, licensing, or starting operations for whatever reason, the same rule applies. You didn't open, they can keep your franchise fee and terminate your agreement. Now, the next potential concern: if you buy a Crumbl franchise, you get a designated territory, but Crumbl can change your territory at the end of the franchise term, or if the population in your area increases over 100,000. Now, I'm old enough to remember the booms and busts of various franchise cycles that we've gone through. About a decade ago, everyone swarmed to cash in on the frozen yogurt craze. Franchises were opening right next door to each other. Eventually, market saturation happened, public sentiment changed, and froyo shops started selling for pennies on the dollar. And the people who got in late in that cycle lost their shirts. Now, next came the cupcake fad, and a similar thing happened there. Now, are cookies going to be this latest craze leading to market saturation? Also, question I have: what happens when we hit a major recession, which many people are saying is quite likely? Are people still going to want to shell out $4 for a cookie? Now, as in all cases of these market frenzies, competitors to Crumbl are already popping up everywhere. Similar franchises Dirty Dough and Crave Cookies were actually sued by Crumbl for allegedly copying their idea, which detractors suggested they had ironically stolen from Chip in the first place. Now, part of this lawsuit stated that Dirty Dough was using sprinkles, using rectangular boxes, and a rotating menu that surely must have been stolen from Crumbl. Now, Dirty Dough fought back by making some hilarious videos, quite frankly, that were mocking how lawsuit-happy Crumbl was, and I'll post a link to these videos at the end if you want to take a look.
Suing the pants off of anyone else who makes cookies. Sit down.
Anyway, the judge ruled Crumbl could not shut down its competitors because they use sprinkles and rectangular boxes, and stated Crumbl has not come close to showing that it still faces irreparable injury that could justify an economic death sentence for its nascent rival. Anyway, regardless of how these lawsuits go or end up, the point being is we are seeing many entities jumping into this market in a very similar fashion we saw with Froyo, Cupcakes, and Quiznos. Crumbl's also been at the receiving end of lawsuits and investigations, including violating child labor laws. Federal investigators found 11 operators in 6 states allowed underage employees to work more than the law permits or in hazardous or prohibited occupations. And this ties back to corporate having enough resources to adequately train franchisees on what they should do and shouldn't do. This Redditor found a Crumbl franchisee advertising for people to work for free shifts to try and qualify to get hired by basically volunteering. There's also a possible class action lawsuit looming against Crumbl, alleging that hidden fees in the Crumbl app are not being properly disclosed to customers. So enough of this gossip. Let's talk money. To buy a Crumbl franchise right now will cost you between $367 and just over $1.4 million. I'll put the breakdown of expenses on your screen. I've had many people call me to ask about Crumbl, all the hype that's going on. Is it good? And at first glance, the revenues actually look really good. So from a net revenue perspective, you can see the gross is also listed here up on your screen, but the highest earning net Crumbl store made just over $1 million, shown here as net profit. The lowest store actually lost $160,000. You don't want to be that person. Now, what is impressive is that a median, so midpoint, sort of an average Crumbl store did over $250,000, as they say here, in net profit. Now, if you've been looking around at franchises compared to many, many other franchise companies at that same investment level, even more, that is an incredible net profit. But hold on, don't go so fast. There's a note that I'm sure a lot of people missed or didn't understand right below the profit claim, stating the net profit may include operating costs that may vary for each location. Such costs could include officer wages, guaranteed payments, corporate benefits and perks, and other indirect costs that owners of each location may choose to incur. So honestly, that's not really net profit, or at least how most of the other franchises are going to list their net profit. So if you're comparing Crumbl to other franchises who are actually including true net profit, this number seems very, very high. What most companies do, and you have to make sure you're comparing apples to apples, not to oranges, but if companies share net profit numbers, they show net profit and then they separate by SDE, or seller discretionary earnings. Now, this makes a huge difference, and why buyers should not be out there comparing these before understanding the numbers. Easily explained. Say I own a company and I make $1 million in a year. I'm working in that business and I pay myself $150,000 a year as a salary and some other perks. Now, that $150,000 is actually considered an expense for the business, unless it's a sole proprietorship, which most of these companies wouldn't be. My own salary, just like the salaries I'm paying my other employees, is an expense for the company. It really, in net profit, should not be included. So if we back out an owner benefit of a $150,000 salary, that's going to leave you with an actual net profit just over $100,000, which is now much more in line with other franchises and much more realistic. Of course, it's not as impressive a number, but Always make sure when you're comparing franchises that you understand the numbers that you are looking at and the differences. Another little tidbit I found just when taking a look through the disclosure is you must close your store on Sundays. That's a whole lot like Chick-fil-A. So if that's something that would bother you as potential lost revenue opportunities, Crumbl may not be the right choice. Crumbl Cookies has done an amazing job building a fan base and attracting franchisees, but will they be able to keep up? Or are they going to crash and burn like some others have in the past? Video of Dirty Dough making fun of the lawsuit above. If you need help buying a franchise, always call the experts at Franchise City first. Thanks for watching.
Franchise City, a better way to buy franchise.